Hey guys, I hope you're all doing good today. I feel super weird because I haven't filmed in a while for maybe like a week and a couple of days, and that can really throw you off if you're filming every single day. And I feel weird coming back. It's just like, how do I start my intro? But today's video is going to be all about my face palettes, and I'm going to start off with my contouring kits. The first one is I have some cream contours and I have some powder contours. So I'm going to start off with this one. This one is the Shade and Light by Kat Von D, and it is the cream contour palette. This one has 3 contour shades and 3 highlighting or correcting shades. I don't use this one on the end. It's a very peachy tone. I could use it for color correcting, so I don't really use that one. I like to mix both of these on my under eye area, and I feel like it does a really good job highlighting. I don't like to use the yellow alone. I sometimes do, but not always. I just feel like it looks too yellow on my skin. I can get away with it maybe if I just put a little bit, but if I really want to highlight, I can't use that one alone. And I can use this one alone, but I feel like mixing it with the yellow makes it a little bit brighter. Hopefully that's not like confusing. And then all 3 of these I can use. I can use this one. This one's the lightest shade in here, and that one's perfect for me, like for an everyday look. If I want to go a little bit more deep, I can use this one. This one's the medium tone, and then this one I have to use very little. So I just like barely tap it whenever I use that one. The only area where I would actually use a dark shade like this one is like at the very beginning, like at the starting point of the contour. I wouldn't apply it right here. It won't work for me for my skin tone. Like over here is just way too dark. It has made cream contouring a good thing to me. Like it doesn't scare me or it doesn't make me like not want to do it. The only thing that I have noticed is that it has dried a little bit. At the beginning of opening this palette, it was like super creamy, like so creamy, so easy to blend. Now I actually put an oil in it. I have to add at least 2 drops of an oil, whether it's a face oil or just any type of like argan oil or something in the palette, just so that way it can work better, because now it's not as creamy as it used to be. I have had it for maybe 2 months, and it's not that long. It's a pretty new product to me, but it's not as creamy as it used to be. The next one is the Cover FX, and this one is also a cream contour. I've had this one for a long time. This is one of my all-time favorite cream contouring products. I have it in the color and light. They have different shades for different skin tones. They have neutrals, they have warm, they just have different palettes. From this palette, I mainly use number 1 and number 2. Number 3 is kind of like a medium tone, so it doesn't really do that much for me. And then this one is a cream highlight, so it has a little bit of sparkle, but I never really use it. So yeah, I mainly use these 2, as you can see right there. They're the ones that I mostly use. This one is also one that I have to use an oil with it, or else it won't blend as easily. I also have this one that's called I'm Shading Palette. This one's from MEMEBOX, and it has 3 shades in here. One is a shimmery shade. Then you get like a medium skin tone shade, which is more of a cool brown, and then you get a darker brown. Okay, so now getting into the powder palettes. This one is by Jerome Alexander. This one's actually an As Seen on TV product, and I did a video on this. I did like the palette, but it's not really worth it in my opinion. Like the price of it, I think you can spend a little bit more and get a high-end product. This one's just from Walgreens. I do have to say that the powders in here for setting your highlight are nice, and this is a palette that I don't really use. I don't reach for it. It blends out okay. The brush that it came with was also okay. It's just like you can spend a little bit more and get a high-end product. It's just not that great, you know? The next one is my favorite. This one's my favorite. This one's the Wet n Wild Mega Glow. I use this in every single video almost, and I think I pretty much use it almost every day. I use it today for contouring. That is a contouring shade that I'm wearing right now. And then this is the powder that I use to set my under eye area. And Wet n Wild has 2 of these palettes. This one is in the color Dulce de Leche. So the other one is more of a yellow based under eye powder. I don't know about the contouring shade, I don't remember, but this one is better for me. Like I said, the yellow on my under eyes just doesn't work out, but this one is perfect. If you are looking for a contouring palette, buy this one. Just try it. Trust me, you won't regret it. It's even worth to try just because it's Wet n Wild. It's so inexpensive. I use this palette every single day whenever I do my makeup. Either I use it just for the contour or just for the highlight, or for both. I always use it in my makeup looks, like always. This is the palette that I always reach for. And also it blends out really easily, so that's another thing about that one. The next favorite powder palette that I have is this one by Lorac. This one is the Lorac, and one of the pieces just fell out. This is the Lorac powder palette. and it comes with 3 shades on top, 3 shades on the bottom. I do have to be very careful with this shade and only use it towards the back of my contour, but I do love these two the most, and of course you can tell right there that I've used this one just a lot. It just works really good with my skin tone. And out of these 3, these 2 are my favorite. These 2 shades, it's the same way always. I will always mix, if I have a palette like this, I will always mix these 2 shades together just because, like I said, yellow is too bright on my under eyes, and I don't really use the shimmer highlight. I do sometimes. It is a good highlight. It's not bad. I just always forget that it's in there, and I do my contour and then later on I do my highlighting, and I always forget that that's in there. So that's why I don't use it. And then the last contour kit is by Anastasia, and this one is the one with the round pans in here. I do like it. I just don't reach for it anymore. And my favorite shade from this palette is this one, and then I used to use these 2 again to set my under eye area. Most of the palettes are the same. Like, you'll get a pink powder, a yellow powder, and then a highlighting powder. The highlighting powder is the one that I hardly ever use. This one, I used to use it a lot for the contouring. This one, I would use it more as a bronzer. It's just a little bit warmer. I just have to use a very light hand. And then I hardly ever use this one. I don't know, it's just too dark. It's a cool tone, but it's a dark cool tone shade. So it's just like too much for me, and it just doesn't really work out with my skin tone. Okay, so moving on to the highlighters. The first one is the Anastasia Aurora Glow Kit, and this one is the one with colorful highlights in here. I know a lot of people are not into colorful highlights, but personally I am. I do like to match it up with my other makeup. If I'm wearing blue eyeshadow, I will add a little bit of blue highlight. I don't do it too much to where you see a blue line, but it's nice. Like, I like it, especially the purple. Was one of my favorites from this palette. I just like all of the shades in here. I'll show you these 2 swatches, one of the blue and one of the purple. They're really nice, and it shows up like blue. You'll see this one's really blue and this one's actually purple. I know a lot of people are not into colorful highlights, but I am. I just really like it. The next one is actually not a palette, but I haven't taken it out of the packaging. This one is the Legit AF, and I actually have a video, my camera cut off, ran out of battery. But anyways, I was telling you that I actually have a brand new video on this kit. This one's one of the ones that came out at Sephora online, because ColourPop is now selling inside Sephora. If you didn't know, check out that video. And this one comes with 3 highlights. They are singles. I just haven't taken them out of here because I don't have a specific spot where I can store them, and I feel like the box is just fine. So the kit does come with 3 highlights. My favorite one is actually Wisp, which I wasn't even sure if I was gonna like it at first. I thought it was gonna be too dark, but this one is so creamy. I mean, super creamy and super intense. One is, it looks like it could be dark, but once you apply it on your face, you know what, I have a powder highlight on my face right now. Let me apply this so that way you can see it, see what I'm talking about. Like, it gives such a nice glowy, there you go. Look at how pretty that is. It's just like a nice glow, and it's not white, it's not pink, it's just like the perfect color for my skin tone. And I really like this one. This was one of my favorites from the 3. So yeah, I mean, it's not a palette, but this is like my highlight little set. I don't have a specific spot for it yet. But if you're interested in this one and seeing like all the swatches and how I use them, because I used all 3 of them in the video, I will have the video up there so that way you can check this video out. It's a pretty new video. I just uploaded it like 2 weeks ago, maybe a week ago. And I have a Makeup Revolution Beyond Radiance palette. If you don't know anything about Makeup Revolution, it is pretty inexpensive. You can find it at Ulta. Whenever I first got it, it had something on top that made these so nice. I do own some of their single highlighters, and those are really nice. They're actually baked highlighters, but these are different. These didn't work the same way. I'm not a fan of the palette ones, so I don't know if it's picking it up on camera, but it does have a little bit of shimmer around it where I haven't used it. And to me, these powders just didn't work the same way as their single ones. And to me, the white shows up like a white eyeshadow. The pink looks pink on my face. And you can see a little bit of shimmer around it, but it's just the top coat of it. So once you really take that off and you use it a few times, they don't look the same way as they do when you first start using it. So I really wouldn't recommend this palette. It's just whatever, you know. It doesn't do much. I don't use it. It doesn't give me a nice glow. It doesn't give me a glow at all, pretty much. It's just like a powder. The next 2 palettes are these 2 by Becca, and actually this one's a blush palette, so this is in the wrong category. So we'll talk about that one later, but this one is a highlight, and this one's called the Afterglow palette. It comes with a highlight, a bronzer, or it's an actual highlight, but I use it as bronzer because it's a little bit too dark for me, and it also comes with 2 blushes. This one was part of their holiday kits maybe about 2 years ago. So these 2 are blushes. I don't really use them that much, but they are beautiful. I remember they were like my favorite, but I just haven't used them in a long time. But this highlight right here is my favorite. This one is called Moonstone, but this is a limited edition palette. Ooh, I dropped it. I didn't break it. That is a limited edition palette, or was a limited edition palette, but you can get Moonstone as a single. So yeah, that one is one of my favorites. And then the last palette that I have is by Huda Beauty, and I also have a full video on this one, and I used all the shades in that video too. If you want to check it out, I have it up there. But this one also comes with colorful highlights, so again, if you're not into colorful highlighters, you probably won't like this palette anyways. This one comes with a pink, a green, purple highlight, and then this one is a cream highlight, which I have used it as a base for the highlight and then apply the highlight on top. So if you want a very intense glow, because this one is cream, you can apply this one first and then apply one of the powders, or you can just wear it just the cream alone and it gives you a nice like everyday type of glow. So those are all my highlighting palettes. Moving on to the blushes, which I do have a few. This one is the Becca one that I was going to show you earlier. This one comes with 3 blushes. My favorite one in here is Songbird, is this one in the middle, and it's like the perfect blush for like every day, for any look. It goes with everything. I really like it. This one is a darker pink, and these are very pigmented, so you have to have like a very light hand or else you will be able to see it like super pink. And this one is a cool tone pink, so I do like that one. It has Wisteria, Songbird, and Snapdragon, and I know that some of these you can get them as singles because this one was their limited edition palette from last year. And then I also have the Real Cheeky palette. This one is blushes and it comes with the bronzer too. This one is by Benefit. They come out with one of these every year, which is why I did not get it this year, because it's pretty much their box blushes in a palette. Pretty much. My favorite one in here is Coralista. It's an orangey blush. And then I do like the Hoola bronzer too. I kind of don't use it just because it's a big old palette and I don't get it out. But those 2 shades from the palette are my favorite. Just so you know, these are pretty much all limited edition kits. Blushes, you can get them as singles, but I do like to get them in a palette just because they're worth it for the price, and then I don't have to carry around a whole bunch of single eyeshadows or store a whole bunch of single blushes, I mean. So yeah, these are the Tarte blushes, the Amazonian clay. You get some pinks, more of like a coral tone. You also get this nice blush. This was my favorite from here. It just gives like a neutral blush, like you're not even wearing any, but it gives you a little bit of color. I don't know, that's just my favorite shade from here. It matches with every single eye look. And that shade is called Breathless. And then this one is from 2 years ago, and this one also comes with 5 shades. Like I said, you can get Amazonian clay blushes as singles, but I just prefer them in a palette. And then from Too Faced, I have these 2. I actually thought I got rid of all of my little Labelle Carousel kit. This is the kit that it comes from. I found them and I was like, oh yeah, I didn't get rid of these 2 because I did like the bronzer from this one. This one is the Chocolate Soleil bronzer, and I don't really care for too much the blush, but I do like the bronzer. And then I don't really care too much about this bronzer, but I do like the blush, and that one is a Luminous Peach Blush and the Sun Bunny Dark Bronzer, which to me is a little bit too dark, but I do like one shade out of each one, which is why I didn't get rid of these 2. And then the last one is the Smashbox palette. It comes with a highlight, or 2 highlights, and then it also comes with the bronzer. So this is the little big, the big palette that they came out with last year, and it comes with a bunch of different blushes, which I love. I love a palette instead of singles. It's just my favorite way to go. The very last 2 products are bronzers, and this one is the Makeup Revolution bronzer palette. This one is big difference from the highlighting palette. I actually really do recommend this one. I think this one's a very nice bronzer palette. It is very pigmented. It shows up really nicely on your face, and it also blends out really nicely. It comes with a few regular bronzers and then 2 baked bronzers. This palette to me is very, very worth it. So I say yes to the bronzer palette, no to the highlighting palette. And then the last one is the Pixie palette. This one has bronzers and highlighters. I do like the bronzers. The highlighters are okay. I just think that the price for this one is probably a little bit high. You can get Pixie at Target. So I'm pretty much done. I feel like I talked forever, but that's my last palette. Hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing my entire face palette collection video. If you are interested in my eyeshadow palette collection video, I will have it listed up there. You can check it out. I put it up about 2 weeks ago, so it's fairly new. new, and you can see all of my eyeshadow palettes there. It's probably a longer video than this one, but hopefully you guys still enjoyed it, and I will see y'all in my next one. Bye!